Just before this video starts, I'm issuing an obvious spoiler warning for the Black Ops 3 campaign, Zombies mode, Nightmares mode, and multiplayer, if you can support multiplayer that is. Also, this review is being issued the day before the drop of DLC 3, so the DLC cycle is not fully finished. However, this review still remains relevant to the general state of the game. It seems that for a while now, hating Call of Duty has been the in thing to do. Therefore, I'm going to do my best to do a fair, objective review of this game without focusing too much on personal anecdotal feelings. However, good reviews have a balanced focus on facts and experiences, so I'm going to be aiming for that balance. The last COD game I bought before Black Ops 3 was Black Ops 2. I was always a Treyarch guy, I didn't really like the Infinity Ward titles, and I never really gave Advanced Warfare the time of day. Black Ops 3 never really grabbed my attention too much either until the public beta, which I played a fair bit. However, the state of the beta should really have been an indication of what was to come. The beta was not a true beta. It wasn't for testing, it wasn't for balancing, it was for pure promotion. Is there anything wrong with promotion? Not exactly. Consoles recently saw a short promotional beta prior to the launch of Overwatch. However, this was preceded by a lengthy PC beta, and with COD being one of the biggest shooters in history, did we really need promotion? Why didn't we receive a longer beta designed to stress test the game and work out some flaws? Because the intent of Activision was very clear from the start. Money, money, money. Let's start from the launch. We'll go from the campaign forward. The campaign was honestly one of the weakest I've played. Call of Duty has an undeniable knack for character design and story, and Treyarch really are the strongest at this in my opinion. World at War had a sensational campaign, Black Ops 1 was a true mindfuck, even Black Ops 2 had some pretty decent campaign. So what happened with Black Ops 3? The first half of the campaign was interesting. It had a dark sci-fi vibe about it, something which made me enjoy the missions, but strangely made me want to pace myself and not rush through the campaign. However, the whole rigmarole of the story becomes apparent. The story is fairly boring past the initial pull of the first few missions, and the second half of the campaign is unfortunately extremely badly executed. Outside of the World War II flashback mission and the zombies section, both of which are in the same level, the rest of the campaign was painfully simple and very forced. The characters felt forgettable, the gameplay mechanics outdated, and the relationship that develops between Kane and the main character is so forced, it feels completely unnatural. After fighting through endless waves of rented enemies, robots and spider tanks, of which there are many, along with some very predictable story turns such as the Psycho being, surprise surprise, a complete psycho, we reach the final level when the shit really hits the fan and sprays everywhere. With a literally endless assault of enemies we've seen thousands of times before, we need to get into the Coalescence Factory, the headquarters of the shady organisation running all the shit going on behind the scenes. On the fight up to this place, I'm wondering a simple question: where are all these robots coming from? There are literally hundreds. I know Treyarch don't like you hanging around for too long in one place, showing clearly in World at War when they'd actually spawn frag grenades on top of you, but this is ridiculous. I went my way up to the side room and lo and behold, there's literally a production line of robots. No lie, there is a revolving door that turns about once every second, each one producing a new robot. The best part about this is, you could farm these robots for campaign XP. Infinite enemies is a bad idea anyway, but this felt cheap in a whole new way. Once inside the headquarters, things get real forgettable, real fast. Kane dies to Nova 6, a nerve gas which you may remember from Black Ops 1. In Black Ops 1, Nova 6 was seen as a huge threat and was a core focus of the campaign, and was even referenced in Zombies. However, in Black Ops 3, it seems it's nothing more than an afterthought. It honestly, to me, felt like the devs needed a way to kill off Kane without conflict, so they remembered Nova gas is a thing, and used it. Why? It was never mentioned before now, I'd forgotten it even existed, and it was never used to pose a threat before or after Kane's death. What's worse is that following Kane's death, one of your teammates has a life or death encounter with Kruger, the head of the shady Coalescence company. Would it be so hard to write Kane's death into this sequence? It would have made the end result of said sequence much more believable. Anyway, back to the story. So Hendrix, one of your teammates, now has Kruger hostage and is asking him about the Frozen Forest and Corvus, an AI virus that is apparently infecting the digital neural interface, referred to as DNI, inside of the player's and Hendrix's mind. So after some relatively boring chatter, Hendrix kills Kruger and the player kills Hendrix. Then, to stop the Corvus virus, the player attempts to shoot himself. However, you end up in the foretold Frozen Forest, a place that exists inside the player's DNI. This section really tops off the ending of the campaign as being forgettable. You meet up with Kane, Hendrix and a character you met earlier in the campaign called Taylor, who is quite important as he died earlier in the campaign but rejected the Corvus virus before he died. You fight for some truly arduous sections filled with enemies you've spent all game killing to reach a final objective which you have to destroy. These steps are extremely repetitive and boring, not exactly the best way to finish off a campaign. After finally destroying these objectives, the Corvus virus is purged from the player's DNI and, free of its influence, the player stumbles out of the Coalescence building. Upon exiting the building, it is revealed that the local security forces have pushed back the enemies previously there and have secured the area. One of the soldiers addresses you as you leave the doors and asks your name, and with dramatic weight the player answers, Taylor, before the screen fades to black. Was this ending meant to shock or invoke a moment of, oh my god? All it evoked out of me was a half-hearted, what? I was not impressed in the slightest. It's like Treyarch stopped caring halfway through the campaign and just threw some sci-fi bullshit at us. It was extremely badly executed, forgettable, and miles away from the past glory of Treyarch's campaigns, a truly lacklustre offering. Now let's get to the other campaign, Nightmares. This is a zombies campaign mode and I was quite excited for it. This is the reason I slogged through the main campaign. However, I have never been more disappointed. The levels were simply rehashes of campaign levels with some zombies and again, more spider tanks. Everything is the same, even down to the way you progress through the level. The same lines of dialogue are said, the same methods are used to traverse the stage that are used in the campaign counterparts, and it is generally a shockingly bad affair. The mystery box makes an appearance, if you can even call it that. It is randomly scattered throughout the phase named the Magic Box, I'm not sure why, and it offers a selection of weapons with preloaded attachments. Silent shotguns, assault rifles, SMGs, the usual array you'd expect from campaign, but it feels so out of place in an item that is so very zombies mode. What really put the bow tie on the turd was that this box is no-clipped, meaning the player can walk through it, completely breaking any slight immersion you might have. I believe this was probably done so that it could be easily slapped down anywhere in the environment without worrying too much about dodgy clipping. Truly awful, and something which I wouldn't even recommend a first play on, let alone repeated ones. Whilst on the subject of zombies, let's talk about the actual zombies mode. Shadows of Evil is the base map that comes with the game, and it is the same sort of map as Transit in Black Ops 2. Long, complicated and intricate, this is a map that really serves more as a building block for the other maps to build off of. Even though this map requires a lot of setup and is sometimes a pain in the arse to play, it has an undeniable atmosphere to it that is unique to this map. The only bad thing is that, with this being the only base map, players that don't want to or can't purchase DLC are stuck with a map that is a lot of effort to set up on, whereas Transit offered an alternative in that you could play town or farm for a more simple zombies experience. The Season Pass offers The Giant, a surface remaster of Deriza from World at War, but is actually the first canon stop for the Origins group in this game. You can't go wrong with Deriza. Easy to set up, simple and with great level design. The only annoying thing is that the perk machines change locations, a feature I'm not sure was present in the Black Ops 1 remaster of Deriza. Regardless, always an outstanding map, and the new elements pertaining to the story really breathe life into a map that always seems to transcend the zombies games in terms of replayability. DLC 1 offered Der Eisendrache, another map that is fairly long to set up on, but is still fun. Yet again, this map has an undeniable atmosphere and one that, upon a blind playthrough, can evoke some truly entertaining moments. An example of this is when me and another person played this on release and managed to feed all of the dragons to get the Bow of the Ancients, invoking a true feeling of accomplishment that Call of Duty rarely offers in anywhere that isn't the zombies mode. DLC 2 gave us Setsuba no Shima, a swamp type map that is again packed full of atmosphere and mystery. I've not played as much of this map as the other zombie maps, but from what I've played, I've really enjoyed it. DLC 3 is due to drop soon and it will give us Gorod Krovi, a map located in Stalingrad. I'm sure it will be another solid offering from the zombies team. All in all, Zombies is almost as good as before. 3 out of the 4 current maps are fairly long to set up on, putting a stop to the whole concept of a quick game on these maps. However, the sheer experience of playing on these maps makes up for it. And now we reach multiplayer, and this is where the fun begins. Multiplayer started off decently for me. I enjoyed the first few weeks and played a lot, generally performing decently well and opening my fair share of contraband cases. I like the element of randomly earning skins for your weapons, decal pieces, etc. within the game, and I like that you could only earn these by actually playing the game. However, then Activision introduced new melee weapons and the godforsaken COD points. I could never work out why the game needed more microtransactions. Activision already makes a shitload of money from Call of Duty, not to mention its DLCs. I didn't mind the Black Ops 2 microtransactions, paying a couple of pounds for a bacon skin wasn't that big of a deal, but now that new weapons are involved, it started to seem like we're heading the same way as Advanced Warfare went. These melee weapons were touted as reskins for the combat knife, and for the most part were, though some weapons did actually behave slightly better than the combat knife until a recent patch. This is the thing that, in my opinion, put us on a slippery slope. Once Activision realised they could make money again using this method, it would only be so long until new guns came into the game, and lo and behold they did. These new guns, whilst having their disadvantages, presented clear advantages in certain circumstances over the weapons in the base game, and with Cryptokey earn rates being constantly tinkered with, the best way to get them was just straight up pay for them by buying COD points. Now the game is in a bit of a state where there are a whole heap of new weapons encouraging you to drop hundreds of pounds just to try to get them. You can't just straight up buy them though, and this is another awful thing about the implementation of these microtransactions. In The Last of Us, one of my favourite games, microtransactions are very present. Hell, some of the best weapons in the game are locked behind a paywall, but you straight up buy these weapons. In Black Ops 3, you buy a chance to get these weapons. I mean, why would Treyarch let us buy the MX Garand for £2 when they can give us the chance to get it for 20? On paper it sounds ridiculous, but people buy into this shit every day, and it really puts a sour taste into the mouth of the people that remember the game before microtransactions and before Activision's greed ruined it. Although, while Activision is mostly to blame, some blame must also be put on the players. YouTubers make videos opening hundreds of supply drops at once, encouraging other users to do the same. This especially appeals to the younger generation of players that, according to the age rating of the game, shouldn't even be on. Kids have no responsibilities and will happily drop their pocket money and maybe even their parents' money on a slim chance to get one of these weapons, of which there have been evidence that percentage chance of attaining one is between 1 and 5%, way too low for what you're paying for in my opinion. When it comes to actual gameplay though, it has fallen into the same trap that Battlefield 4 fell into. Constant tinkering and tweaking of weapons put way too much focus on understanding the latest patch and knowing how your favourite weapons have changed, and less focus on just actually playing the game. Furthermore, the introduction of stealth patches onto the SMGs made it even worse. Stealth patches are never a good thing. Why can't developers be honest with the people playing their game? If the devs think something needs to be changed, the players should be told, because people in the community will find out anyway. Another thing that made multiplayer unbearable for me towards the end of my playtime was the specialists. Whilst interesting at the start, they became stale fast. Firebreak's flamethrower is a guaranteed kill if it touches you. Spectre's Ripper Blades remind us of the old days of Commando Pro, something nobody wants to relive. And there's always a chance that the ruin you're facing will panic and activate its gravity spikes, instantly winning the gunfight. Petition to change the name of gravity spikes to panic poles in the description. In closing, Black Ops 3 could have been the COD that showed Advanced Warfare how to do sci-fi gunfights properly, but constant tinkering along with Activision's greed and lack of respect for the paying members of the community turned this game into the shitstorm many predicted it would be. With a forgettable campaign, atrocious zombies campaign, and frankly ruined multiplayer, the zombies mode is the only saving grace. But no matter how good zombies is, you know how the saying goes, you can't polish a turd. I will definitely not be buying another Call of Duty game after this. I love zombies, always have, always will, but I refuse to drop over £100 on a game that is constantly underperforming and delivers a shoddy product on a yearly basis. Maybe Call of Duty needs a new developer to push it forward, maybe it needs a new publisher that will prioritise product integrity over profit, or maybe Call of Duty is finally fading into obscurity. With dwindling pre-order numbers for Infinite Warfare, even with the promise of a remastered Call of Duty 4, the question is looming: is Call of Duty in its dying days?